Hi everyone, I am not 100% sure if I'm live, but I think I am. So this first moment is always quickly checking if everything works. And I think it is, so that is wonderful. We are going to do a bit of sketchbooking today. I'm just finding our reference photos. So there we go, so let's get started. Welcome, thank you so much for joining in. My name is Irene, and every week on Thursday I do a live sketchbook session here on YouTube, so thank you so much for joining in. I'm really looking forward to doing a bit of creativity with you today and a little bit of drawing just before all this Christmas holiday busyness starts. A little moment of a bit of sketchbooking before that. This is the sketchbook that I'm using. It's a Sea White of Brighton sketchbook. You can see it's quite thick. It is a sketchbook that I use mostly for these sessions. Sometimes I switch it up a bit and I use a different sketchbook. But this is the one I'm going to use today. And it is my messy sketchbook. And by messy sketchbook, I mean that I'm allowing myself to experiment a bit in this sketchbook, to just create sketches, different styles, try out pens, come up with ideas, and just have a bit of playful time. Sometimes when you work in a sketchbook, there can be quite a lot of pressure to create this beautiful curated look, to create it like something where every page sort of goes together. And this is sort of the opposite of that. I'm trying to just use it for whatever I want to use it in a moment. So because of that, I'm calling it my messy sketchbook. Sometimes people say, oh, it's not really that messy, but it's not about creating a mess on purpose. It's more about allowing myself to be messy if I want to. So this is what I'm going to do. These are some sketches I made yesterday, and I'm going to just carry on a little bit in the same style on a new page. There we go. So there we go. New page, new day. So, quick sip of tea, and then I'm going to get started. So, I just picked a random animal. So today I picked pigeons and doves to do some sketches. So yesterday I did some polar bear sketches, some sketches of camels, and I thought I'm going to do a sort of similar, sketch out some pigeons from different angles and different sort of sides and different shapes. And it's really nice sometimes to just draw one animal multiple times. So let me make this a bit bigger on screen. There we go. So there we go. And if you want to draw along, you can find all the reference photos on my Pinterest board. I'll actually save it right now here under drawing ideas. So I save all my these Pinterest photos on a board. So if you want to draw along, you can find them there. But feel free to work on your own project or to join in a way that that feels good to you. So I'm just going to use a black pen. There we go. And what I'm going to do in this exercise is just make quick sketches of these animals from different angles and maybe different sizes. Just fill the page, and that way you get to know an animal really well. It's a really great way of practicing, drawing a specific animal. And I do this a lot with lots of different animals, and I just find it a really interesting way of practicing my sketches. So no sketch pencil, I'm just using a pen. Feel free to join in with a sketch pencil or with a color pencil if that is what you have. It doesn't really matter so much. But what I like about pen is that everything is permanent. That every line is there to stay and that I cannot erase anything. So that's sort of part of my exercise today. So there we go. I'm just going to get started here. So the first sketch is probably going to be a bit messy. See, sort of trying to do continuous line. See, there we go. We start out with our first pigeon. A little bit wonky, a little bit messy, and that's okay. If anyone has any questions for me, feel free to ask away. always happy to answer questions if I can, or at least to help out. I am a full-time artist. I think most of you know this. I don't know if there's any familiar faces here, but I'm a full-time artist. I work in an art studio at home where I am now, and also sometimes in my studio in Cambridge where I paint and I work on larger canvases. And I teach drawing classes and art classes. I have an online community where people are becoming members of and joining in. And I love sketchbooking, and I believe every single person can learn how to draw. See how I'm sort of starting to fill this this shape. There we go. Maybe just a little bit further. So I'm really just focusing on the large shapes and the proportions, not thinking too much about the details. So there we go. We have a warm-up sketch. So, and why did I pick pigeons today? For no other reason than I just decided that was the animal that I wanted to draw. So I don't discriminate. Every animal is interesting, and every time I pick something else. So let's pick another picture. I like this one. See if it comes out okay on screen. I don't think the feet are really in the photo, and that's okay. So again, I am saving this photo to this sketchbook, to this drawing ideas book on Pinterest if you want to have a look there. And what I'm going to do is just draw this pigeon next to this other one. So there we go. Focusing on those shapes. And in this technique, where I just go straight in with a line, it's a little bit different from some of the other drawing techniques that I teach sometimes, where you focus on, where you make a sketch first and you focus a bit more on realism and on details. Today, this is all about loosening up and just quickly making a mark on the paper. See, there we go. Just making sure you can see it. Make sure that this is a bit darker in the background, because I want to be able to see the difference between these two animals. So, and this is sort of part why this is my messy sketchbook, because I quite like to just go in and sketch and not think about it too much. Okay, there we go. A little bit more expression for this particular bird. So maybe this one. So I'll go through it quite fast. If you need a little bit more time, just take all the time that you need. You know where to find the pictures now. I am currently a little bit on my sort of Christmas holiday break. Not completely, but I definitely am winding down a bit. My partner also has some time off, which is really lovely, and he works in a normal job, a normal office job. He doesn't run his own business, so I can sort of choose when I take time off. But it is also quite hard. I don't know if any of you run your own business, but it can be quite hard sometimes to justify taking time off, because there's always more you can do and always more to, there's always more work to be done. So it can be quite hard sometimes to take time off. So this one has wings sort of going out. So, and at this time of year, I don't know if this is the same for you, but this time of year I'm thinking a lot about where I want to go, what my priorities are, what do I want to learn, what direction I want to go with my art, what sort of classes do I want to teach next year, what do I want to do with my online community, like all these things that, sort of New Year's resolutions and stuff, but then times 10. So I do find that it is quite tiring sometimes to constantly reflect. And therefore it's extra nice to take a bit of time out and give myself that space to think about things as well without having to create everything immediately. So, there we go. It's okay if it's a bit messy. The more often you make sketches like this, the easier it gets. This is something that you might notice after a while. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing next week. I need to, because Christmas is Monday, isn't it? And then we need to have a quick look when New Year's is. And what the sort of plan for next week is. Maybe I can just do the live session as normal, but if not, I will send an email around to tell people. So I quite like this one. A lot of movement in there. Just making sure I'm sharp. See, there we go. This is how quickly you can fill up a sketchbook page. Sometimes people make such a big deal out of a sketchbook. Like, oh, it needs to all look perfect and I don't have time, I don't have the right materials. But you can see this is 12 minutes in. I've done 3 drawings already, just with one pen. Just quickly looking on Pinterest for some photos and just some quick sketches. Maybe this one, do you reckon? I might have time to do a second animal as well. Once I fill this page, I might do a second page with a different type of animal. So if there's an animal you'd like to draw, let me know. I will, if I know it before I fill my page, then I can take it into consideration, so let me know. So all this reflecting time. I'm actually, because at the moment I'm running my online community with live sessions, but the live sessions are only open to community members, not to anyone else. So people need to pay for a membership to join in. And I'm sort of reconsidering this. I was thinking perhaps I will open the membership, not the membership, but the classes on Zoom to other people as well, just for like it's free for members and other people can buy a ticket. I'm not sure if this is a good idea. Something I'm thinking about at the moment. A change. That way I can also perhaps make the membership a little bit more affordable for everyone, because if then people join in with one-off tickets, that sort of contributes to the creation of the event, and then perhaps I can use the then I can reduce the cost of the membership a bit. So I'm thinking about these things, but because I do not have any business sort of background, I'm figuring everything out by myself. Sometimes I don't know if the things I come up with are good ideas or not. I just need to test them and then see how it works, and no one taught me this. I'm just figuring it out, and so I'm sort of thinking out loud as I'm saying this now. But it just comes with practice, doesn't it? Figuring out these things. So I've also started to record a few more solo podcasts, which is really nice. So if you want to know a bit more about how I run my business and my online courses and what materials I use, and if that's something you find interesting, know that there's some podcasts about it, if you're curious about it. My last podcast sort of explains why I create online courses in the first place, why I decided to switch from individual classes to online courses, and my community, which was a really great decision, but at the same time I'm also thinking about changing it again. I'm sort of a year in creating courses, and it's a really great time to maybe make some small adjustments and change things a little bit. So, is anyone drawing along today? No, there's a few people here who regularly join in with these sessions. So, maybe there can be a little bird here. Maybe one from the front. They're funny looking animals, aren't they? So, there we go. Also, I really like these sort of loose sketches. I quite often keep them and actually use them for things. Sometimes it feels like you have to put a lot of more effort into creating a sketch, but I often prefer the loose and quick drawings to really stylized sort of finished ones. There we go. Just peeping around the corner. Let me save that one as well, otherwise I forget. Did I save the other ones? I quickly do it. This one, save. And save. All done. There we go. Let's look at a new animal to draw. Move all this advertising out of the way a little bit. So no nails. I want to pick an animal. What shall I? Maybe an insect. Can be anything. I don't think I received any suggestions from you, so I will just pick something. Maybe something very different. Maybe like so let's look at some goats. See, something completely different. I like this. There we go. Let's start with this one. I think that is a very different animal, very different vibe, and I think it'd be fun to draw. So there we go. One page done. You can see I've added a little bit of details in the background as well. Sometimes I like to add in a few little marks. So just to fill the page and to bring things together a little bit. There we go. I quite like the look of this page. So, new page. Which is also one of the reasons I go through these pages quite quick sometimes. It's one of the reasons why I like using this sketchbook, because it has lots of pages, 95 I think. And it's quite an affordable sketchbook, so I think this one cost £11 in British pounds, which for a sketchbook is quite cheap. It's quite affordable, and it's really nice paper. You can see my ink doesn't really press through. You can just see it shine through the paper, yeah, that makes it a really nice sketchbook to feel free to go through the pages quite quick. Sometimes when you use a really expensive sketchbook, I have my Strathmore mixed media sketchbook. I think that sketchbook cost me £25 for one sketchbook. So that's more than double the price, and it has way less pages than this one. It's really beautiful paper, really high quality, but that means that I feel more pressure on each of these individual sheets of paper to create something where I put more effort in, a little bit more time. I make sketches beforehand. I'm more prepared. So it's a very different process. Whilst this is a sketchbook where I can just fill it up quickly, and I don't feel any hesitation to do so. So there's sort of pros and cons to that as well. All right, there we go. I think there's a little bit of delay in what you are watching compared to what I'm drawing. Let's see, different animal. So I'm seeing a bit of a triangle, sort of forehead here. See, if it's a little bit wonky, that is fine. Just trying to figure out what shape I'm noticing. So this is the eye, so ear. Slightly more complicated animal compared to that pigeon, which has quite a sort of simple shape. But I'm going to approach it in the same way. There we go. Same here, so we have the big horn. I need to just pay a little bit more attention compared to what I was doing to the pigeons. So an ear. There we go. I feel like this looks a bit like that sheep already. You can see that I'm running out of space on my paper a bit. It's okay, that just means this is going to be a bit of a portrait and I'll leave the rest out. It's probably okay for first drawing of this animal. There we go. I think I sort of captured this character quite well. Oh, hi Linda, really lovely to see you again. It's always nice to see you. So, similar type of sheep, slightly different pose. There we go. Just moving this up a little bit. So I think again, just focusing on the face. So if this is the horn, so the horn has sort of is quite a big feature in this drawing, I think. So that is sort of roughly the shape that I'm seeing, and this is the ear. Then there's an eye here. So see, I'm just going over the middle part of the paper. I'm sort of ignoring that a little bit. So the pen that I use is a bit chiseled, so I can create thicker lines and some thinner lines with it. See? And I think once you have this sort of sketching technique, once you get used to it, and once you're used to sketching animals, you can draw any animal imaginative, like you can imagine any animal. You can draw, and also not just animals. Once you sort of have practiced this sketching technique, you can draw anything. And there's different techniques of sketching. This is such a loose sort of way that I'm doing it now. Of course, there's lots of techniques where you make a bit of a grid, or where you focus on negative space. There's a lot of different techniques that I teach in my classes. This is just the simplest, make a line and see what, draw what you see quickly, messy sort of technique. So once you're used to it, you can literally draw anything. And if you, I know some of you have been drawing with me for a little while now, maybe you already notice a bit of improvement. Maybe you notice that you start to find it a bit easier. And this is not even really an art class, this is more of me chatting away to you, showing you what I like to do, a bit of relaxation. But hopefully you already start to notice that it starts to come a bit easier. See? I quite like him. This little rim. I need to remember to save the picture, don't I? Should we do this one? For the last picture here on the page. This one's filling up really quickly. So again, save it. There we go. So I tend to focus on the large shapes first, even when I do a drawing such as this. I sort of pick a point and then focus on the large shapes from there. See, and just sketch away. I do like these horns, I think they're beautiful. Really lovely. I think this is the first time I'm drawing these type of sheep that I can think of. Maybe there might have been an occasion where I made a sketch of an animal such as this, but it's definitely a long time ago. And this is not an animal I draw regularly. But the more you practice, the easier it gets. And also, you start to appreciate, like everyone has favorite animals, right? Everyone has animals that they like, or pets that they are really fond of, or horses, or like everyone's got animals that they like more than others. But once you draw a lot like this, you start to realize that every animal is interesting to draw. If we would draw like crickets, it'd be really interesting. Sheep, lions, moths. Every animal has interesting things. So you start to appreciate the natural world so much more once you draw it regularly. I think it's a really great way of finding appreciation. And I know I draw a lot of other things as well, landscapes. And last week we did a landscape painting. So if you want to do a bit of watercolor painting with me, make sure you check out last week's live session, and you can paint along. So I do that as well. But I think drawing animals is definitely my top sort of favorite activity when it comes to sketching. I totally agree, Linda. I think they definitely have personalities. These quick animals. I don't know if you. I think you're watching the doves still. I've sort of slowly moved on. I can see your text, but I think the video is a bit delayed. But I love creating little personalities. So. There we go. So let's see if I can add a little bit of interesting movement around these. And I think I can remove so if I do it like this, you can just see my keyboard here, my cup of tea. So let's see if I can add a little bit of interest around this. Maybe with a bit of color. So perhaps I can add in little shapes in the background that I don't know, that just are interesting. So, a bit of color there. I'm thinking of the sort of empty spaces between the animals and between the shapes that I might want to highlight a bit more. There we go. I love a bit of color next to a black and white drawing. So the felt tips I'm using here are really super cheap children's felt tips. I think they're great to use in my sketchbook because they do not go through the paper compared to some of my really lovely expensive alcohol markers that really press through the paper. These, see, if I look at the other side, do not come through. There we go. I like a bit of color in my sketches. There we go. Yeah, so I spent quite a lot of today and yesterday thinking about what I want to do in the new year, what sort of commissions would I like to take on, what sort of artwork would I love to make, what would I love to teach. This year I focused a lot on creating courses and a lot on helping people develop their own style. So a lot of my courses have had a lot of mixed media and a lot of people bring their own art materials, and it's very sort of loose. And I was thinking maybe for next year I can create some courses that have a bit more detailed sort of instructions about a specific medium. And I did a color pencil course in the autumn, and I do think it's really nice to do a course that is specifically focused on a specific type of medium. But then I also know it excludes a lot of people from joining in if they don't have that, specific paper set, pencil set, or marker set or something like that. So I always try and keep my courses a bit more open where you can join in with different mediums. But yeah, this is something I'm thinking about. So I'm just adding a bit of color to the background. This orange is a really nice bright color. This green is a bit too soft. Let's add the darker color green. So I just instantly feel myself relaxed when I'm drawing. Even though I'm talking to you all and I am sort of chatting away, I just instantly feel my mind calm down when I'm doing some sketching. And I sort of hope that you can feel that too. That is a vibe that I can sort of bring to your room as well, from wherever you are joining in. So, there we go. I think that might be enough color on the paper. So let's have a quick look. I like it. For this quick drawing. And these sheep. The slightly chaotic drawings. I think if you were drawing along, you will find that the pigeons are definitely a little bit easier than the sheep or the rams with these big horns. But it's good to give yourself a bit of a challenge, right? So thank you so much for joining in. I'll just quickly check what day next Thursday is. Next Thursday is the 28th. I see no reason why I cannot do a live session, because New Year's is not till the weekend. So put it in your diary next week, 3 o'clock UK time, if you want to do a bit of sketchbooking with me. I will be here. And in the meantime, I hope you have a really lovely rest of your day, and I will see you soon. And Take care, and we'll see each other shortly. Bye bye.